Okay, as you can see, we are now in the process of filling in this area that we cut out. And I'm also going to show you something else I've done. If you look at the front of this, you'll notice I filled it in and put a stud there. Well, because we're using bipods that hook into the eyes, I put a steel eye on it. And the reason's because these little plastic eyes that come in the guns typically tear out. So I'll be filling that part in with fiberglass as well to mold it down and make it look good again. So anyway, I'm going to be getting back to the filling in this part. And after I've filled it in some more, I'll come back and show you guys a little more of the work I've done. I don't think you want to really sit there and watch. Okay, now, as I said, I'm back with showing you how I'm finishing this out. What I'm doing is I'm molding it, as you can see, to where it fits perfectly in hand. My finger actually reaches the front of the trigger guard now on the outside. Nice and comfortable stance. I can lay on the ground or sit in a chair with a table or whatever for hours now and just lay my hand there and wait for my shot. So I will finish doing some more of the sanding and smoothing, and I'll show you what it looks like once it's complete. And then we'll go ahead and start getting it ready for paint. Okay, I'm putting on some of the final coats now, which are smoothing coats and leveling coats. Basically, I'll level all this out with the fiberglass, and then I'll turn around and sand it smooth so it's got a nice finish and easy to paint. But as you can see, what I've done is I've added this much to it, that high, and what I do is I put 2 screws dead in the center or top, and that helps have something to hold on to besides just the stock. So I guarantee this won't be breaking off and falling off or something like that. But also you should sand the stock very well with heavy grit so that you get plenty of space to hold on to the stock as well. So when I get it built up the rest of the way, I'll be sanding it down, and I'll show you the finished product after that. Thank you. Okay, next step that I'm going to show you. See, I've gone ahead and done a lot of the sanding to it, and I've got it into the shape that I want it. I'm going to put it together tomorrow, just temporarily, so that I can make sure that the height of the cheek rest is where I want it. And if it is, then I've already cut myself up a bunch of fiberglass from some fiberglass cloth. I'm going to use some clear fiberglass resin, and I am going to smooth all of this out real nicely so that it will come out with a nice textured filmed edge, so that I will be able to paint it and guarantee that it will never come back apart. I've also got to build up the last piece right here, which I will probably go ahead and do tomorrow in front of the camera so that you can see some of my techniques on how I get all this done. I know you're seeing this Bondo here and you're saying, God, that's going to break out, but you got to realize that that's just a thin coat of Bondo to make sure that the fiberglass, which is this kind of stuff, is nice and smooth. I gave that final texture with a little bit of a Bondo, but I'm going to reinforce it one last time, like I said, with some homemade gorilla hair. That's what we call it when you use fiberglass that has been shaved into little threads. And once that's done, we will start painting it. Also, so that you can see, you remember there was a ridge right in here where the old eye used to be. And you'll notice that that's no longer there because I filled it in with fiberglass. I used body fill for fiberglass, the same kind you would use on your automotives, on your cars, such as that. And as you can see, when the barrel and the scope are placed on this, you should be able to set your cheek on it and see straight down through the center of the scope. You won't have to raise your head a little or lower your head a little. It should sit perfect right there. So I am going to go ahead and call it a night, and I will show you how I put the fiberglass on and how I put the fiberglass on here in order to allow it to become a little bit thicker so that I'll have finger grooves to set my hand in so that it can be nice and comfortable the whole time. That comes tomorrow. So, good night. Okay, now you can see that I've got it covered in a nice thick layer of fiberglass with the homemade gorilla hair from last night. My next step is to make the finger slots down here. I'll do that tomorrow after this has had time to settle, and we'll get back to it then. Okay, now you see I've got the finger grips cut into this rifle, and I painted it with a light coat so that I could find the imperfections, places like this right here, right there, that need to be filled in. Some of them up in here, a few here, down in here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make up a batch of clear fiberglass, and I'm going to put that in here just so that I can get it filled in. And then once that's filled in, it's off to the paint booth. But you see the cheek rust, you see the hand grip, and you see that it's form fitted to fit into the hand like so that you can actually reach the front of your trigger guard with your finger, and then you can reach in. So let me do a little more work and I will show it to you once again. Thank you. Bye. Okay, now you can see I put a nice slick coat of clear fiberglass over the top of it, and it has to dry, and that should smooth everything out and allow it to also fill in all the holes that there was. So next I'll be moving on to letting this dry, and after it dries then we'll do a little fine 500 grade sanding to smooth it out perfect.